I read a while ago that a man, somewhere in Japan I think, found what he believed was an ancient magnolia seed, a rare if not extinct type of magnolia, a 1,000-year-old seed. But what occurred to me was that it was possible that he had made a mistake. And maybe, what if this 1,000-year-old seed was not a magnolia at all, but in fact a virulent, now extinct, 1,000-year-old weed? How could he be sure? One of my first memories as a child is of a dog that was blind in one eye. My father had taken pity on this dog, and it seemed to follow him around. A friend of mine told me that her father had had a glass eye. She told me that once her father had lost it at the beach, and that she can remember herself as a child swimming and searching frantically for this glass eye of her father's. What I do remember about my father is that he liked toys, especially ones that could move. He seemed to marvel at their ingenuity and animation. And he was also good at puzzles, could do one that no one else seemed to be able to do. And I can remember him laughing with delight at his own cleverness. I still have that puzzle, and also a watch that will not go, my father's old watch. Did time really stop? What does it mean that if you travel to outer space you are younger than if you don't? Like the story I heard about the twin brothers. One of them went into outer space and somehow it was as though that time almost didn't register. And he came back younger than his brother. Or what about the idea that if there were life on some other planet, and if they were looking at the Earth right now, they wouldn't see us but the people 1,000 or so years before us? Another thing I can remember is looking over a very high wall. Perhaps someone was holding me. All I could see was what I thought was a big old kind of castle. I was looking for my mother. My aunt had told me that she was inside, and I remember thinking of her as being trapped, a bit like Rapunzel. I remember wishing I could fly, and later, months later, after she had recovered from her breakdown, when they let her out of the hospital, I started to think of her as an injured bird. She was a doctor, and she did not save him. Did not know he was dying. Thought he was having a nightmare, not a heart attack. They say, and it's not known why, that in some quantum experiments, even the presence of the observer or scientist is enough to cause or make the outcome of an experiment. I can still hear her screaming. I remember reading about the giraffe in the London Zoo, how it had become so addicted to cucumber sandwiches that it had to be weaned back to regular giraffe food. At the zoo here, the mother giraffe has been so depressed that she has tried to kill her own baby. Although in Kiev, at the zoo there, a woman worker was so unhappy about how the other elephants were treating the baby elephant that she, Ludmila Popova, took it home with her to her own one-room apartment. I sometimes think about these things, or my father. The article that I found about him, about his work as a filmmaker in Poland, it was headed valet. When I was young, I had been intrigued by this word and wondered about it, what it meant and how you pronounced it. Vale? Bali? Valet? If I feel at all optimistic, I say to myself that he gave me a present of the sky and the clouds, or even the stars. But I am unsure if this is just my 5-year-old fancifulness, what I would like to remember instead of what little I can. They say that in operations on the eye, it is not unheard of for the eye that is well to somehow react in sympathy with the eye that is being operated on. Not only does the operation fail, but also the patient may be left in total blindness. The colour seemed to drain out of things for me. Another thing I sometimes do is listen for his voice, even a distant echo. I can still hear my mother's screams, but never his voice. We rarely spoke of him after he died.